Coffee Cup 1 and Coffee Cup 2, and then eventually became Mel's Diner here. But great history, great lady, and I think more than just the building itself, because the building's changed over time. And it was a first commercial building in Boulder City, but it's changed. It's changed a lot over the years. It's not the original that it once was. But it's important because it was the first, and it's important because of the lady that was the impetus for all of these changes in Boulder City. And so, like my little napkin here, the deal that was done, I kind of left you in suspense, although everybody I think already knows that Mr. Lawson, Charles Lawson, the current owner, has struck a deal with Dan Fox, and he's got his wife Kelly here and his son Matt here. Together they, as you know, run Fox's Smokehouse Barbecue, and got a lot of things going on in Boulder City, and they run it as a family business, and I'm sure they're doing this as a family as well. But the story that Dan shared with me the other day was kind of a napkin type deal where Dan was catering events for Charles, and they just developed a relationship over the years, and he can fill you in on the details, but just over time they started having some dialogue about, hey, would you be interested in selling it, and they ultimately struck that deal. So I know it's not closed yet, the deal's still in the works. We're super optimistic that it's going to be great for Boulder City. To me, this is a victory for historic preservation, just because of all of the things I've just talked about, as well as for economic development in Boulder City. And it has brought, boarded up buildings. We don't like them, but just like the other boarded up buildings in Boulder City, it has brought dialogue. It has brought attention to the issues of historic preservation and economic development, and that's important for our city. And sometimes it takes that in the history of a city to make sure we don't forget what's happened here. So we don't yet know what's going to be built here. We don't know. I know that Dan has some ideas percolating in his mind, including maybe restoring some of the historic elements, but that remains to be seen. The deal needs to still close, but we're happy for you guys and that you were able to come together and do this, and happy that you could be a part of this momentous occasion in Boulder City. So I'm going to turn the time over to each of you. You want to start with Charles first?
Okay. Well, Mayor, thank you very much. I really just want to take the opportunity to clear just two things up. It's all positive, and the mayor touched on one of them. I'm not from Boulder City. Been in Vegas for 24 years, but I'm from, like all of us, most of us, somewhere else in a small town. And so when I came to Boulder City and started the project that I was doing, it was a multi-year build out. It was millions of dollars. There were multiple buildings involved. But I came to Boulder City at a time that perhaps there were some challenges going on. I don't know, what does an outsider know? So after we got that restaurant open, it was an unorthodox experience compared to what I'm used to elsewhere. So it created some issues, and we weren't able to resolve those issues, but it was not the leadership of the town, it was the city hall. And that's all been worked out. Just like things get worked out in Washington or whatever state y'all are from, it got worked out. But it got worked out because everyone before me failed. So I had to go to the nuclear option, and the nuclear option was the plywood. I apologize to each and every person in the city of Boulder City that the plywood had to go up. I lied low. I wasn't out there trying to cause trouble because I knew it would be enough trouble on its own. But I've seen other cities do what this city was doing, and they've all failed. To this day, not one of them has recovered. I'm from Michigan, so remember the Midwest? It's full of failed towns. And a lot of those failed towns are because of the leadership and because of bad communication or no communication between the people and the leaders. The leaders have been great. I think City Hall was a little stale and needed some changing. The mayor, Peggy, and everybody, Rich Schumann and everybody at City Hall in leadership stepped up. I think you all can recall that because the city started stepping up. People from town got involved and started showing up at their city council meetings once the plywood went in. That's all I wanted to happen, is to get the dialogue going. especially after I bought this building. This is one of the coolest little buildings in a small town you could ever hope to own. It's quirky, it's built like a dinosaur, it's a great building. And this is the stuff I like, or I never would have come here to do it. Since I'm now rotating out, I couldn't be more proud to turn it over to a family like Dan has, Matt and Lori, Laura. Kelly, God, why am I stuck on Laura? I'm sorry. Kelly, I'm so sorry. But the reason I wasn't selling and they stayed in plywood, this is important for your neighbors to know, because I know that there have been a lot of accusations thrown around over the years against leaders or other people. I wish that never had started, and I wish it would stop, because it's not about, no one did anything wrong. This was just a town that got real stale in the way it was doing things, and it was problematic for an outsider used to doing things what I considered a better way. Sorry. But they worked on it, and City Hall, I think, is far better off now. I think the townspeople are far better off now, because y'all have engaged, talked about the angry, tough, emotional issues that I may have brought to the forefront, but they were here before I got here. So I just want to thank the town for their patience, getting involved, historic preservation. That's where I was trying to go, and then I'll shut up. It's the historic preservation that was the driver for me. I never would have bought the building if I didn't appreciate old historic buildings. I filed the demolition permit because in the time I put the boards up and the time I filed the permit, all the town was doing was fighting. Nobody was working on solutions. The leadership was trying, but City Hall still needed some changes. It got those changes thanks to the mayor's leadership. And it was a bitter pill, and I apologize for it. But I couldn't be happy. Well, I could be a little happier, but I'm mostly happy with what's happened. There's one thing I'm still not happy about, and since you're all here with your cameras and such, Mayor, I apologize, but I'm going to say it. I wish the people in this town would stop distrusting each other and stop thinking that everybody's out to get everybody else. Nobody's out to get anybody. We've all been basically on the same page of maintaining a small, quaint town environment, lifestyle, place to live. A lot of nice ones up north too. This could be even better. I really believe this is the best small town in all of Nevada. I genuinely believe that. So I just want to thank the town for putting up with it. It was necessary, and please stop fighting. One last comment and I'll shut up. This sign right here, the only reason I'm mentioning it is because I saw what's happened over the past 3 days since these signs went up, and it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We've got to stop jumping to conclusions and jumping immediately, as a town, jumping immediately into, oh, it's nefarious activity, people are coming to get us, we're all going to die. None of that is going on. I put that sign up, congratulated Rod Woodward, Rich Schumann, and Peggy Levin, because they were consistent voices during the 3 years of challenges. Plywood hasn't been the only challenge. The bypass, other businesses, you know, having to rearrange some things. These three were a steady force during those 3 years of trying to bring people together. I don't want to divide people any further, and I know that the sign, surprisingly to me, the sign took on a negative connotation with the people because 2 people are left out of it. That was not a hit on the 2 people that were left out of it, and I wish the town wouldn't have taken it that way. It wasn't a hit on them. We all got to stop being so sensitive. Okay, nobody's out to get any of us. But these are the 3 people as a voter, citizen, and stakeholder that I think their leadership is what it should be in a small town. I don't think we need to keep dividing this town between the growthers and the non-growthers. Nobody's coming here to build 10,000 homes. The mayor won't let it. I've already asked. He said no, okay? not directly, but indirectly. Yeah, because I would like to see a little more growth, but it's not my town. It's not my town. I respect that the majority needs to rule on that, and the mayor is the one defending the town against these big developers who would like to come in. It's not like they're beating the door down. Everyone knows the deal out here in Boulder City. So if we could all just relax, dial it down a notch or two as a town, come together a little bit more. That sign was not meant to be decisive or divisive. Yet the town yet the signs lit the town up on fire this weekend on social media. That shouldn't happen. We have telephones. Call somebody. Get some questions answered. Brett called me. The mayor called me. Others called me. You know, but some others did not call me. And so we had 3 days of really ugly comments. Very ugly comments. I was saving these buildings. I was never going to tear them down. It took the demo permit to get everybody angry enough to you know, take torches to City Hall to get a conversation going on historic preservation. We have to preserve these buildings in one way or another with ordinances that are far more toothy than the ones I saw. It seems counterproductive to my own interests, but it's not. Brett knew me from the beginning. I was coming here to improve the town, not build subdivisions and tear everything down, okay? It went off the rails, but it got everybody's attention. Thank you. One last thing, come together more. Please come together more. I don't know the other two that aren't named here, okay? You haven't heard me going around town saying anything. I just didn't know them. But these three are the ones that made the difference for me. That's all. Last thing, if he's got a whole bunch more money, he can have Scratch House. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much, Mayor. We've got some definite plans for what we're going to do with this. You know, we're just floating around with our family. I'm going to work with the city on this, and I want the city to work with us. It's not closed yet. Hopefully, we close here in the next 20 days or so. And then once that's done, we're going to do something immediately with the building, and we're going to keep it as historic and keep it Boulder City as possible. Thank you.
So we don't have much more, but I just want
I have one thing.
let me hone in on one last thing, because I know you said one last thing about 12 times.
I know.
Yeah? Right?
I know.
Go ahead.
All right, this is for the cameras. Now, I don't know that it's I presume it's within my rights to do this. I'm very open and honest. The historic committee arranged, when I bought the building, to memorialize it, consistent with what Boulder City, and we all want Boulder City to stand for. So even though I never got to put this on the building, I'm going to show it to you in a second because it's a pretty one. Since Dan is the new owner, I would like to pass this on because it doesn't belong with me, it belongs with the building. Dan?
Well, Charles,
Show the
thank you
camera.
very much. All right.
Show the camera.